Hi everyone, my name is Adam Weezer, Associate Writer here at CIG Los Angeles, and this is another episode of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy. For those of you who haven't seen this show, it is a chance for a member of the lore team to sit down and explain to you some of the details behind each system we've created from the game, from astronomical properties to fun little story things and locations you'll be able to go visit, both in the large Star Citizen universe and possibly in Squadron 42. So today we're going to go to what many consider to be the safest system in the entire UEE, if you stay on the right side of the law. So we're going to start here on Earth, and today we will be going to visit the Killian system. So we'll just go through here. Now, Killian is an interesting system because it is massive when it comes to celestial bodies. It has 14 planets in the system. If we back on out and here kind of show you the different jumps that come on in, it has 3 jump points that connect it to all-access jump points to Davian and Ellis, and a small jump to Cathcart. As basically the safest system in the UEE, that's primarily because it is the center of military might. Both the UEE Navy and the Marines have their home bases here. As you can see, it is also just 2 jumps away, right here through the Davian system, to the Sol system, which is right there for you. So it has easy access to protect humanity's homeworld, which also houses the Army. The Army is the only kind of military force which is not based in the Killian system. So if we zip on in, we get to see a very interesting astronomical feat happening right at the center of the system. Now, the system star is a Type G main sequence star, which is just like the sun we have in the Sol system. It's not quite as big or bright as ours, but it is same kind of like yellow-white in color. And then right around it, we have what has become known as the Three Sisters. Now, these all kind of lie in the same orbit because of the basically centrifugal force created by the first sister, a gas giant right here, which is the large one, and the gravity that it creates with the main star. Now, basically, this was able to grab the second and third sisters at some point in the creation of the system and pull it into the orbit of the first sister. Both the second and third sister are kind of like small rocky protoplanets. Nothing too crazy there. But basically, the centrifugal forces between the two mean that Sister 2 is in the Lagrange point 4, and Sister 3 is in Lagrange point 5, and will stay in this formation as the 3 planets will all kind of like orbit basically together around the start of the star. And again, Sister 1 it's a gas giant, and also when they're this close to the center of the system, they're also called a lot of times a hot Jupiter. So as we back out, we can actually get to a little further back, and the 4th planet of the system is called Magma, which was not very creatively named. It is exactly what you think it is, a lava planet filled with volcanic activity. There are a lot of resources there, but accessing them is not very easy and extremely dangerous. So that is the 4th planet in the system. If we back on up, then we start to get to the military might of the system. This is MacArthur. Now, MacArthur is the headquarters of the Navy, and it has the largest naval base in the entire universe. It is also where the Bengal carrier was first created and where it's still built today. So MacArthur is very protected. Every year, there's thousands of young, fresh recruits that come to do their basic training and go to flight school here on MacArthur, which make it a very important and very key planet, not only in the system, but in the entire UEE in general. Now, this Killian system becoming such a center of military might wasn't necessarily planned. It was something that just kind of happened and progressed naturally. much like how the Three Sisters kind of naturally came together and it just stuck and became that way. Forward Operating Base was first put there by the Navy, that expanded, and once they started to see the resources and the variety of this system, the military just kind of kept moving in, until even eventually in 2751 they moved all the major shipyards for the Navy into the system and around Killian, which is surrounded by smaller little kind of satellites and ship dock type places. If we go to the next system, which is going to be OSHA right here, this is Killian 6. And this is basically a super Earth. It's a temperate world, and this has basically become the home world for family of a lot of the military people assigned to the system, maybe people who have been working or have contracts in the system and stuff like that. This is the main basically hub where people are going to live in this giant system. So this is OSHA right there. I'll try to double click out of here. Took me back too far, but we'll go back in again. And after OSHA, we're going to move on out to Keen right here. Now, Keen is a terrestrial rocky world, so it's a little bit smaller than OSHA. If OSHA was where kind of like people mainly live, Keen is where a lot of the corporations mainly live in the system. And if you think about it, if you're a corporation, who wants to have a contract with the military, it's first of all very lucrative, but if you can have a presence in Keen, it's essential. In fact, factory space is at a premium on Keen because it will make you a fantastic supplier to the entire Navy or the Marines if you can not only have a presence in the system, but also manufacture goods in the system. So Keen is a very interesting place where you can go, do a lot of trading, do a lot of business. RSI, Anvil also have showrooms here you can go visit because once again, with their connection to the Navy, they want to make sure that they have that presence in the system also. Now, Killian 8 over here is a beautiful ocean world that looks just gorgeous as you approach it, except that the water is extremely toxic to not only kind of spacesuits, but also ship hulls. Even kind of like a minor contact with the oceans on Killian 8 can be destructive to a hull or to a suit. So even though it's a beautiful ocean world, we don't recommend you go in here unless you want to face some serious issues. If we go out a little further, we're actually going to go past the frost line to Corin, which is Killian 9. So this is an ice planet with jagged kind of like ice ravines and lots of cliffs and a really inhospitable environment. So of course it is the home base for the UEE Marines. Now, the Marines' main station is an underground base here on Corin, so that's where their main headquarters is. But anyone who does qualify to become a Marine has to go through a 6-month boot camp on the surface of this planet in one of the most inhospitable areas that you could possibly think. For those that have any interest in going to see what the Marine lifestyle is like, I don't recommend you doing it unless you're specifically asked to. It is one of the most heavily guarded planets, not only in the universe, but the system. There is a Bengal carrier filled with Marines that is always on patrol outside this place. So unless you're asked to go there, I don't recommend going to visit Corin. If we back on out, we get to the kind of like farther reaches of the system. Out here we have Killian 10, which is a dwarf planet that is actually very mineral rich. There's a lot of interest in getting the minerals off this planet, but it has actually been stuck in a court since 2941 over a legal dispute as to which corporation owns the rights to actually extract the minerals from this place. So as of right now, not really much you can do here unless you want to be a claim jumper and try to go in and sneak in and grab some minerals. Maybe that's a possibility if, of course, this wasn't the most heavily guarded and armed system probably in all of the UEE. As we back on out further, we go to Killian 11, which is a gas giant, which is surrounded by basically harvesters that are scooping fuel to be able to be used in the system and by the military. If we back on out, we've got 3 more to swing on by. We've got Killian 12 right here, which is a ice planet with not much of note going on there besides it just being really freaking cold. And finally, in the very, very outer reaches, you've got Killian 13 and Killian 14. Killian 13 is only of note because it's a small dwarf planet that has this really beautiful kind of quartz smoky look to its surface. And Killian 14 is kind of forgettable. It's literally just a dwarf planet caught in the outer reaches. So that was an introduction to the massive 14-planet Killian system, one of the safest due to the presence of the Marines and the Navy home base being right there. Thank you for watching this episode of Loremaker's Guide to the Galaxy, and thanks to all the subscribers out there that make shows like this possible. I'm Adam Weezer. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.